Well, hello everyone again. Dr. Steven Greene here from Make Great Tutoring Services. I just wanted to welcome everybody to the weekly webinar. And this is an extension of the webinar that happened last week. So I'm actually going to begin by kind of recapping. I'm going to begin by recapping what we did last week, which was basically a test prep timeline for SATs or ACTs, really test prep. So this is the slide we ended last time, which is pretty self-explanatory. But this would be these boxes here, potential times a typical junior would take the SAT or ACT, and you can see there's multiple ones. The SAT 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, from a practical standpoint, almost no one would actually take 9 SAT and ACT exams. But the key thing in the theme of last week was planning and when to enter into this process. So some of the places you can start to prep before your sophomore year, so you can have a PSAT in your sophomore year, which isn't shown on the slide. More typically the summer before your junior year, or the fall your junior year, so school starts maybe after the PSAT. What I recommend to my students is taking SAT in November, ACT in December. That way by January, you got your midterms in, you can review these two scores, and really that gives you an idea of where to proceed moving forward. And that's really it. If you have any more questions about this, reach out to me. Again, this is a review from last week. Talk about. So let's get into really today's topic, which is an academic focus. Make the Grade Academic Tutoring is obviously a tutoring company. We focus on a lot of academics, math, science, in particular, any level of math, any level of science, but also SAT, ACT prep. The goal is to help get people into the college of their choice. That's the goal. So I'm going to, for today, talk about the academic focus side of that. So here's some questions. What's more important? Good grades or taking challenging coursework like honors classes, AP classes, things like this? This is one of these timeless questions. Frankly, I think you're going to get some different opinions about it. But my opinion is good classes, a strong academic resume, lots of honors classes, AP classes is better than an occasional B or a lesser grade in what's not considered as challenging coursework. Now, I'm saying this from the perspective of college admissions. If you get A's in a normal track 2 or 3, and you're going to get D's or F's in the honors track, but it's not the same thing. So I'm saying what you want to do is push yourself. You want college admissions people to see, you took challenging coursework when you could. This does not mean you 5 AP classes. Every single class being honors class. But you want to have at least some. So take the topics you're strong at. If you're good at history, if you're good at writing, if you're good at English, you take some AP courses in there. Don't do something that's going to hurt you. So here's the idea. Here's some other things you can do that go beyond high school curriculum. As your application or your resume, these are other discussions. Dual enrollment classes, leadership positions, personal accomplishments. So we'll talk about each one of these today. So a dual enrollment class is more or less what it sounds like. This is when you'd be enrolled in a class that may be given actually at a college, but you're also going to be some credit for it. So where I live, there's a community college, Montgomery County College, which is Courses Montco, which gives a number of classes that are dual enrollment. So in other words, a student would take the class through the college, they would replace school credit, so they would not have to take an equivalent class in high school. What's the advantage of this? Well, you're in a college level class. Maybe a class with obviously high school graduates, college students, maybe you can come back for some kind of enrichment. These are common, they're very available. Some are online, but most are resident. But that leads us to this. You can take online classes. Anything you can do to show that you are trying to further yourself academically is a really good concept. And the last thing is maybe there's a class you don't suit you. Just make an independent project. Be proactive. Go to a teacher and say, listen, I'm really interested in Civil War history. Just throw it out there. And maybe I've taken every class in this high school to accomplish this. I'd like to do an independent project on that. I have yet to find a teacher or an academic advisor that would discourage a student. Maybe you write a paper, maybe you need to get published somewhere, or self-publish it. These are great application. Plenty of independent projects you can do in science. Essentially, just create your own science fair. Make an experiment, do it, and then this is something that you can use later on to show what you've done. Leadership positions. Generally speaking, all the information, all the conversations I've had with college admissions professionals say the same thing. They'd like to see students who have done 1, 2, or maybe 3 activities but gotten to leadership positions in them, compared to students in 26 clubs just because there are 26 clubs. So here's the idea. You're going to join a club, try to get into leadership, so I become a president or a secretary, turn vice president. Captains of sports teams, youth groups, get into leadership spots. There's lots of youth groups, become a regional president or a chapter president or get on committees, travel teams for sports and similar to team captains. But all these show an effort outside of school. Get involved in theater or dance or martial arts. It's not new here. Missionary work. I've had students go to other countries, South America, Africa. I've had them go to some of the disadvantaged areas of the United States and work there for a couple of weeks in the summer. Become a volunteer firefighter or EMT, serve your community. This is kind of near to me because my child did it. But the point is, what do these all have in common? They show you're taking some responsibility. Put yourself in a position of responsibility in important things. Leadership is a developed skill. And it's something that colleges and college applicants will have to okay? And then the same kind of idea is extending any sort of personal accomplishment, honors, competitions, essays. People join clubs and they go to competitions. There's a future business leaders club. They go to competition at the state level, the national level, science, or sports accomplishments. But you have to create these things for yourself. And they're not things you can just decide to do halfway through your senior year. You have to develop these over time, even starting young, 7th, 8th, 6th grade, so that by the time you get to 9th, 10th, 11th grade, you're in a position to do some work. Volunteer work, there's an infinite number of places you can volunteer. Infinite. It doesn't have to be 100 hours a week. An hour, what they want to see is consistency. Find a place that you enjoy, get back to, and volunteer an hour or two. It could be in sports, medical situation, it could be educational situation. Winning awards is awesome. Essay awards, sports awards, anything that enables you to stand out. Of course, being involved in sports, many people involved in sports. The key is to try to get to a leadership position. I'm repeating myself, I understand that. This is the idea. Less, but higher accomplishment in the things that you do. Businesses. I've had students who start their own businesses. You might say, well, I'm 15, what do I sell? And I do. Be creative. What do you enjoy? I had a student who started a sneaker company. So now I figured out how to buy sneakers on sale, so on the website, and sold them at a margin. I've had people write books. Not to be a 700-page novel. About your experiences, how you get through school, how you get into college. So let's just really quickly review. This is going to be relatively short because I think the point is very singular and very clear. For academic focus, obviously grades are important. Also taking challenging classes. But outside of class, you add your application, add your resume, things like doing classes, getting involved in leadership positions, and any sort of personal accomplishments that you can accumulate. Importantly, these are not things you can start to do July before your senior year. You need to said, maybe in 8th and 9th grade. And they certainly can be things you enjoy. These do not have to be horrible chores that you dread doing. If you like soccer, there's an organization where you can volunteer with disadvantaged kids. Soccer, like baseball, same thing. If you want to work at the library, reading books, just the point is show putting some time into things that you can build upon. So I want to thank everyone. As always, 15 languages. Obrigado. It's Portuguese. I'm not sure you even know every language here, so I'm going to apologize. Let's go to Q&A. So, number one. Okay, question. Does it matter which AP or honors class the student takes? In my opinion, I preface everything I say with in my opinion because I'm a conjure man, I'm a guidance counselor, a college professional, admissions professional, etc. But in my opinion, no, I don't think it matters. I don't know that honors English is superior, say, to honors calculus. But I would say this. Think about what your intended course of study is down the road. So if you want to be an engineer, it probably would make more sense to take AP calculus than AP history. Because if you're applying to an engineering college, which is obviously math oriented and math based, these are the sort of things that the school's going to say. Flip side, if you're going to journalism, it makes sense to take an AP class or honors class that focus on writing. So apples to apples, grade-wise, I'm not sure it matters. In fact, I don't think it matters. But I think if you look long horizon, that's really where you want to go. And as a sort of corollary answer, everybody knows the AP classes lead to the AP exams. So if school have 5 being the highest score, a lot of the schools have a score of 5, sometimes even 4. You get some college credit or place out of classes. So something else to think about. One other question. Where we live, there are not a lot of volunteer opportunities. Rural area, any suggestions? Interesting question. Let me think about that because I haven't everybody else that before. I gotta think anywhere. There's someplace you can volunteer. It's a church or a synagogue or a school. You could also probably get involved in coaching. So probably I think some sort of sports leagues where kids are involved in sports and they may need volunteer coaches or people behind the scenes. Another story, I had a student who helped with all the statistics of a local league. And this was great for them because they had an interest in math and they wanted to get into finance and business. And they spent a whole season just computing batting averages and RBIs and minutiae statistics of baseball, which there are tons. So, it was a volunteer thing. He just approached the league and said, I'd like to do this. I just need access to the scorebooks. And they were all for it. It was something that wasn't there, and he just added to it. So again, it's a resume builder. So there's another idea for you. So obviously, in certain areas, there's going to be more opportunities than others. I think sometimes you got to be creative, but ultimately, it should be based on what you enjoy doing. That's my advice as a teacher, also as a parent, having had kids going through this now. And even as an adult, I've done a lot of volunteer work, and I still do. And I've reached a point where I do the ones I enjoy. So of course, I feel good about giving back and relationships and things like this. But there's so many opportunities that people you can really dig into and be passionate about. So, all right. So let's do this. We're going to bring this to a close. As always, I appreciate everybody coming to the webinar. Got people in 8 different states also. If you have questions, or if there is something like further discussion on, here's how you can reach me. Just look this up on the screen as I close. call me. You can email me. You can go to my websites. One's for the book, one's for the business. The Facebook page, engage there. The second one, which for whatever reason is active, is the company Facebook page. And I encourage you to go there into the discussion. I have a text info list. Text the word START to that phone number, and you get about once a week some kind of updates, often discounts on tutoring and other things. You can also schedule an appointment on the website. So thank you, everyone, and I hope this was helpful. But take home message: plan ahead, just like your test prep, just like you plan for that. You got to plan some choices. So that's it for today. Thank you again, and I'll see you next week. Dr. Steven Greene, signing.